It's pronounced gliomancy, Jeff. I made up the word. It gets pronounced the way that I pronounce it. Thank you very much. I just realized I can't read my slides, so, maybe I can. Let's see. See what happens. So they call me Tom Banger. Actually, I made up the name, and I'm going to start. This has been the thing. So I have been diagnosed with a glioblastoma, and hence the name Gliomancy, because I'm a Mancy boy. So I'm going to talk about that sort of briefly. And with your consent, I'm going to do a little sort of ceremony blessing kind of thing, which will hopefully help prolong my life and help make yours more fulfilling. So we'll start off. So I haven't really told very many people about my terminal cancer diagnosis because it's problematic because other people start trying to own my experience. And I own this. I own my body. I want the agency. I want I want to tell the story. And I don't want others telling my story. So I ask, and while you're here, we've got the standard, this is my story. I'm not a victim. I'm not the guy on Facebook with tubes hanging out of their brain and, in the hospital or, with weekly updates about how I feel. If you're that kind of person, that's okay. But I'm not going to be that person. I am going to be, I'll tell you why later, but I don't want sympathy or platitudes or anything like that. I want to own this and go out with as much dignity and courage and respect, self-respect, as I can come out of it, because it's very uncertain. I'll talk about uncertainty later. I don't want to hear about your grandma who was diagnosed with testicular cancer and took reishi or something, and now she's the head of the Special Forces paratrooping team or something. You hear that stuff, and I don't want to hear it. I don't need to hear stories. It's apples to oranges. My particular thing has 40 different genotypes, and they all respond differently to different kinds of treatments. People, oxidants work well, antioxidants work well, rather, with a lot of cancers, but they don't work with mine. All of my treatments have been involved around taking oxygen out, or putting oxygen in, oxygenating my cells. Anyway, and I'm not going to give you status reports, don't ask. I'll give them when I feel like it, no medical advice. But you can absolutely give me as many hugs as you want to, and that's the support. And if you want to do spells, good spells, or anything send energy, that's absolutely cool too. And anything you can do, to me and everybody you love. So I've started a mantra, which is I don't know, because people ask me a lot of questions how's the, where do you stand? Does it come back? Or something like that. I don't know. And it is what it is. It's going to be que sera, sera. So that's my intro. So if you can agree to those kind of ground rules, you can stay here and listen to the rest of my rap. So there's Zen. Here's Zen Master Banger. Not labeling things, just allowing things to be. Accepting impertinence and that impermanence. Both. But if you're going to hang with me, you're going to have to accept both. But really this whole thing, this whole journey was I started off thinking I was immortal. And I'm not. And you're not. And that's really what this is themed around, is around trying to accepting that and finding a way to win these battles. So look at your thoughts and your feelings and don't label them. There's so much labeling, we tag everything on social media and, this person's a this and this president's a that and this is a that and people who think this or those. And we just had a thing about metafictions, and we're creating horrible metafictions by labeling things, by saying we live in uncertain times, by saying that this is late-stage capitalism. How do we know that it's not first-stage capitalism? This could just be the beginning. You guys are just pissed because you didn't get on the boat yet. Whoa, did I just turn it off? Yeah, okay. So then we're going to go through the 5 stages of grief. I love Kubler-Ross, and I've used it for all my problem solving. since I found out about it, is this is the way that we deal with uncertainty. It's the way we deal with bad news, not just with dying or being sick or something like that, but like, this isn't happening. Anybody, all that jazz, anybody? Huge inspiration for this talk and for this journey. And I'm actually gonna, if time allows, I'm gonna reenact the final scene of all that jazz. So, you know, you get mad, and then, you know, like, let's say there's a project is going sideways. And at first, like, no, it's not. Everything's fine. You know, America's just fine. And then you go, I hate that dude. And then you're like, well, maybe, you know, I mean, if we kiss his ass, can we make it right? And then you're like, no, no way. And then you kind of accept it. I'm not accepting it. I'm acknowledging it. Like, this is not, like, I'm not accepting the fact there's some really nasty statistics, and I'm not going to accept my death and decay, my imminent death and decay. But I have to acknowledge it. I have to plan around it. And that's why I retired at age 62. And I'm spending all of my retirement investments so I can live like a drunk sailor for the rest of my days. And God help me if I live more than 10 years. And one of her quotes, terminally ill people can teach us everything, not just about dying, but about living. So hopefully I'll show you how to die. I'm not going to do some crazy G.G. Allen thing, don't worry. I had a bunch of premonitions. I love doing these sort of aporrimantic self-portraits, and like somehow they end up being kind of morbid often. I'm either like, it's either supermodels or skeletons. So then I got sick. In 2023, I got really sick, really, really mysteriously sick, sort of unto death in bed, although I never felt like I was in danger. And so I had this, my cut-up talk 2 years ago was based on that, was basically doing a, and of course I can't remember the name of it, is it Chode? That Tibetan meditation where you chop your body up. Well, it wasn't chopping your body up in my dream. It was chopping up my words. And imagine all your words are meaningless and throw them to the wind and set them on fire. So I kind of reenacted it, and that inspired my talk, is that there's no such thing as words, and words are the most impermanent thing of all, and the most deceptive in a way. And so here I am to deceive you. So then after that, when I came out of it, they never figured out what it was. They did lots of tests, never figured out what it was. So then I got a thing from somebody, and it's a really long story that I won't go into, but I got a thing saying that I had come to these voodoo people in a ceremony that they were doing, and I was stopping them from doing something. This crazy fucking blonde guy that they knew was getting in their way from doing this thing they needed to do, and conditional to the fact that he became initiated into voodoo, and apparently it turned out to be me, and my spirit guide is Anansi the spider, which is ironic because he has spun a big web in my head that sprouts into tumors from time to time, and the web is invisible. So then, 8 days after Occulture or something like that, I got in a head-on car wreck, and they did a routine CT scan on me. So this is me with my neck brace and all that. There are lots of prosthetics coming here. But so I was, and this shouldn't be such a long story really, but so Bob Flanagan, who's like a master alchemist, I don't know if anybody's familiar with him. He's generally known in the S&M scene. He had multiple sclerosis, or one of the, like a really horrible disease, and turned it into a way of fetishizing his pain through sadomasochism, but also through this just incredible attitude. The man went through incredible pain, and he was never, and constant depression about it, but he never showed anything but a brave face in it, and he was like one of the most electric people I ever got to meet, and it's wonderful to be sick. So that's my Facebook picture or Instagram picture if I was the sick guy, but I'm not. That was him. Did I do it again? Okay. So, medical tourism is something I've done for a long time, and that's my way of getting past fear. Like, these procedures, like, I think I did it first during my first colostomy. My dad died of colon cancer, and so I started getting colonoscopies pretty early on. So I was terrified of getting an IV, of having one of the IV tubes put in my vein. And so I said, well, take a picture of me while you're doing it, because I can't look scared if you take a picture of me. So I don't. And so now every time, and now I look forward to medical procedures. Oh, it's my first CT scan. Ooh, they're going to do it. Like, it became an interesting thing, and I document everything that I get. I've got CDs of all of the, or DVDs of all the scans that they've done and everything. So it's turned into this like looking forward to thing and being really brave, because I'm going to get to have a picture done. Thank God. Because so then, does any T-Rex people? So you know this song. I wanted to have it played, but I don't know how to do it, and it's hard to download things you don't own, intellectual property and whatnot. But it's they put on, like, have anybody had a head MRI done? So they put a mask on you to keep you from moving your head, and then they put you on a gurney and lay this thing on your head, and then they put you in this portal. It's amazing. It's so cool. It's like I felt like King Tut going into the underworld, and so unfortunately they found 2 tumors in my head. It was really cool. I had a great time in there, and then like there were 2 growths in my thing. So then they said, okay, we're going to operate on it. So 5 days later, they prepped me for surgery, and they stuck these things on my head so that they could aim these. They measured based on the MRI where the tumors were, and then they put those so they could guide lasers to it, so that when they opened my skull, they'd converge at the exact point where they knew that the lasers were. And they shaved my head. Finally, I can look like the Human League. And so another inspiration is Genesis and Jackie Breyer-Peorage, is that they were real, like this is, like, I got a real piercing. This is real body art, people. I mean, not to say anything about what you do, but this was like, I mean, I wasn't hung upside down when they did it, but it's like, document everything. Trust your people, and thank you to everybody. I didn't acknowledge this yet, and thank you to all of you for deciding to be here. If it was me, if I was to choose between me and Peter Gray, I'd be on Peter Gray, dude. So thank you for being here. And thank you for being my friends, for those of you that are my friends, and for your support and love. So much kindness and fun. But then the big thing is, don't let a day go by without bringing something into the world that wouldn't have been there if you hadn't made it. I think that's from Carl Abrahamson's excellent book of interviews with him. I'm not remembering what the Sacred Intent? Yeah. And so, that's the thing. So now, here's the cool part. Anybody want to leave? As Ted Nugent would say, you can turn around and get the fuck out of here. Yeah, you know what I'd say. I say what I know. Okay, so the surgery, you're right, there's them picking around in the tumors. And then here's something where they're stopping the bleeding or something, and then they're screwing 2 metal rosettes, and I love them. I wish they would have given me some, but they're biohazard. We can't give them to you. So I negotiated this. This is the bargaining part of illness. Is I said, I won't consent to the surgery if you won't take pictures. And they said, but you have to have the surgery, or you're going to have these tumors grow, and you're going to go into a coma. And I said, okay, give me the pictures. So the doctor brought his camera, the surgeon brought his camera in and had one of the techs videotape my entire procedure. And I didn't get the whole videotape, but I was able to take stills and videos off of his camera with my camera. And so therefore I have these. So this is 2, you can see the little titanium rosettes. And you can also see the little titanium brackets. There's 5 brackets and 2 rosettes in my head that'll never go away until they cremate me. And if you want one, there's a raffle going on later. So then here's the little hamburgers they took out of me. And here's them peeling the bandage off of my head, exposing the stitches. So while I was in the hospital, I happened to be reading Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb, who's like the master of risk. And really, I mean, if you think about it, magic really is risk management. Like protective magic is all about risk management. And you think about like the opposite of risk is opportunity. And so what we're trying to do is get opportunities. But when opportunities go sideways, then you have consequences. And so he, at the very end of this book, talks about stoicism and how stoicism really is the only way to deal with catastrophic risk. And so I'm not going to read this, but this is what informed my entire thing. Like right after I got out of surgery, I read this section, and it really has changed things, you know? And one thing he talks about, and I don't know who it was, I can't remember, some Greek hero. Like Greek heroes didn't act like James Bond when they were going to get killed, or, you know, like they didn't spit in people's eyes and say, you know, go fuck your mother, punker, you know, fuck you, or something. They didn't do that. They would weep because they were leaving the world and leaving their family, and then go to their heroic deaths. But it was your actions that you were judged on and not your appearance. And I think that that's a problem with all of us in a way, is that we put on a strong face, and, you know, it's okay to be scared. But that isn't the opposite of bravery. You know, it's in spite of fear, not without fear. So then the cleanup, and this is the pee bag and the painful urethra piercing I got done. And I had to do a Red Hot Chili Peppers sock. Okay, so this is my wonderful family picking me up, and some of my wonderful care team, and me getting out. And this is like, am I dreaming? Am I alive? Yes. So then as soon as I got home, some people did some wonderful things for me. There's this guy named Chris DeLang who was a complete stranger, but I loved his embroidery. He does incredible embroideries. And I said, dude, you do incredible, like, abstract embroideries. Do you want to do an abstract one of a glioblastoma? And he said, yes. So he made this beautiful thing of my CT scan. And I love it. And I encourage anybody that's arty, if you want to make a brain for me as an amulet. So this is an amulet that hangs on my cancer hate wall, or a cancer ally wall. I'm not going to label it. But anyway, that's Christopher. And then Danny Nemu. I'm not going to say exactly what led to us. It would be bad advertising for me to say exactly what led to him doing an induction. But he said, do you want me to do an induction to help promote healing? And actually, ironically, the day that we recorded the induction was like immediately after the call is when I got the call from my doctor saying that it was terminal cancer. But so he did an hour-long hypnotic induction for healing. And as a cybersecurity expert, I can't say that correlation equals causation, but I can say that I've been listening to this thing every night for the last 2 years, since October, or like January 2021, or that would be 2022, or, excuse me, January, temporal lobe. That's January 2023, or that would be 24, yeah, just get mixed up. Okay, but anyway, and he suggested making a picture of what what things would be like later. So I did a frottage, of course, because I'm super into frottage, like finding textures, and that's part of my cure, really. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, you know, it's a Geisen grid and a picture and some frottage of words that I think you need when you're finding out that you've got a terminal illness. So then healing. So here's me when my with my stitches. That's 54 staples in my head. And so I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm trying to flip this thing around and make it fun. And because if it's not fun, it sucks, and you're already dying. So it's got to be fun. Life has to be fun. If it's not fun, and that's a Genesis thing, was there were a bunch of goths one time that were going to the concerts in 1986, and he lectured them from stage. It was still, Jen was still a heathen, and said, get out of that black. Like, get some color into life, because black is death, and this is a death thing. And, like, Thanatos is cool until he's with you and your friends and like, your whole world. And so, lighten up, guys, you know? And so that's me lightening up, and the inspiration for me lightening up. So here's the stitches coming out. And then I made the doctor give me the staples because they're a biohazard. And I had to fight it for those. But they gave them to me. They took the staples out, and I got the little kit that they used to take them out too, the scissors and the tweezers. And then there's the staples. And then the other thing is, like, I appropriate as much of this crap as I can and try to turn it into symbols of power. So I made a chain out of the staples, and it's open, and it's right here, because I'm not going to be chained by this thing. And so I've got an open chain that I carry with me to remind me that I own this. It doesn't own me, and it won't own me until it does. It will, but not today. So, and all of you are here today, and you don't know where you'll be tonight. So then Tim Ferriss, the secular alchemist, turned me on to salad porn, which is my way. Jeff does this too, if you document the things that you're supposed to do every day, you do them every day. And you start your day saying, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then you go on to social media and you go, I did X, Y, and Z. But for me, it's just like I did salad porn, and it's a wonderful opportunity for innuendo, because you could talk about, like, hot Greek peppers and like creamy cheese and all kinds of stuff. But I'm not going to get into that. That's me with Timmy Boy. And so then chemo was the first thing, I think. Actually, it was radiation, but I'm not going to go into that yet. So here's all the pills I've taken those are the pill bottles that I've taken since my diagnosis. This is a diagnosis, not an illness, by the way, or a disease, because I'm not sick. So it's going to stay a diagnosis until it's something else. So this is me documenting taking pills, having fun taking pills. And I was really lucky, because I wasn't one of the people they put on a table and they do drips on and you sit there for 12 hours while they put poison in your veins and stuff. I just ate the poison at home. I did that for 6 months, every day. 6 pills, I think, 4 pills. And they made me tired, and I guess it fucked with my hair, but it was okay. So this is the bargaining part of the grief cycle, and I'm going to say that magic is bargaining. Like, if I do this thing, will I get this thing? And that goes back to your gimme magic in a way, but it is bargaining, and the magician, I mean, that dude looks like he's trying to, like, sell you a used car. But, you know, treatment's a form of bargaining. You're like, if I take this pill, will it make me better? If I undergo this surgery, will this thing go away? You don't know. Okay, so there's radiation. That was terrifying. I mean, and this was the most frustrating thing of my entire experience, was they wouldn't let me bring a camera into the thing. So I had this, no, they wouldn't. They like had this fake thing. I mean, first it was privacy, because there's like a bunch of screens in the room, and they might have somebody's privacy information on there or something. And I'm like, I'm the one in the room. Isn't it my privacy information I'm taking? No, sir, we can't do that. It's policy. So then I'm like, okay, well, I mean, so I consent to that. And let me talk to the boss. So I talked to the boss, and she said, you know, It's actually like part of our end user license agreement for the Siemens equipment that we're using, and we're not supposed, like, it's intellectual property of some kind, and we're not supposed to, like, we agreed not to take pictures of it. So I put a camera in my front pocket and turned it on and walked in and videoed it, like stealing the fire from heaven. I felt like Prometheus. But so anyway, that's a picture of the the Alexis machine. And so that was a crazy thing. And I guess maybe like a little bit later, but so they put that helmet over my head and there's like holes in it. It's this grid. There's that black thing up on top is like this weird grid with these holes in it where they can strap you down different ways. So they used they heated this plastic mesh and sculpted it so that it fits my head exactly. And then it has little clips in it that they use to clip your head back onto this plastic thing so you can't move it, because you really don't want to move when people are zapping radiation in frying parts of your brain. It's generally discouraged. So, but I did a couple things. So then, like, Wim Hof is the man, and there's a picture of me worshiping Wim Hof, my moment. So cold exposure, it's just a good routine. They have a really cheap app that you can use. Like this, I'm not getting paid for this, but there's a cheap app you can use, and it documents, kind of like Jeff's thing, but it documents you doing breathing exercises and then doing breathing exercises with push-ups and then your cold showers, cold exposure, something like that. So I have a record of 8.5 years of doing Wim Hof exercises now. And I mean, maybe it helped. I don't know. I mean, correlation is not causation. So I don't know. It makes my head feel better when I dip it in ice water, for sure. It unswells it better than medicine does. So then this is the transmutation part. So this is actually me doing a rubbing. They did let me do a rubbing of the plastic platform. So those squares and that pattern that's around my that's the pattern of my head, of the mask that they put on there. And there's the mask. And there's the cool deer that sacrificed its head for me that I found. And then here's another thing. One of those things is a Danny mushroom slime mold thing on the picture on the right. And yeah, so then Geisen. I mean, it helps do things because you can do cut-ups and you can make cool pictures and you can write down wishes and flip them around and do word magic, which is really important to me. And you rub out the word too. So permutation. So one of my permutations is rub out the tumor, and that's actually what this one is. That's rub out the tumor, and I switched the letters around, and it ends up being tumor, the rub out, the tumor, rub out, tumor, rub. And so there you can see it better. And that's, again, the outline of the thing they staked my head down to when they ran it through. And it was so intense. It's really like, I don't know anybody who's done radiation. I mean, I'm not unique here. I mean, there's a lot of people that have had this, and I'm not saying I'm special or I'm doing anything or anything I'm doing works. But for you people that haven't had it, I hopefully can inspire you to do this with more confidence and dignity maybe, and to appreciate what you have right now. And that's kind of what we're getting to. Is there a way to click that thingy for me? Can I do it? No, so this is me after 6 weeks of radiation, I think. Is that a video? Maybe the video didn't make it through. I'm not feeling it. Oh, there it is. Can we get sound from the computer? So they have a titanium bell that's made out of the same material I have in my head. And they let you ring the bell, and there's this like woohoo, and people throw glitter at you and stuff, which was cool. And anybody that's had radiation has probably done something analogous to that. And again, Austin Spare, does not matter, need not be. The as-if principle, that's metafiction, is, the magic of as-if by Hans Weihinger of basically like making it up. and saying, making it true. So, depression. Everybody's how many people have asked me how I'm doing today or during this conference? How many people? Any? What do I say? Fantastic! If I say it 5 or 6 times, I believe it every day. Every day. And there was a thing yesterday about that in the workshop that I had to leave because I went to see something else. But there was a thing like where the tone and the inflection and everything matters and changes the way you feel about things. So do it every day. Like, screw that, I'm okay, or, yeah, or hi, good morning. No, good morning. You smile. And it's not like that thing like, smile, you're a pretty girl, you should smile more. No, you should smile more because you're a human being and you're here and you have a choice as to whether this is going to be a good day or a bad day. And you can make that choice. And that's one of the things in stoicism is that fortune does what it will to you and you don't have any control over what happens to you. But you do have control over how you react and do it. Like, do it, say it. What is it? Say what you mean and say it mean, as Jim Fetus would say. And so, here's my irony. I'm actually going to be in a movie by the Addams Family, if anybody knows them, and I'm going to be a doctor pulling a screaming fetus out of somebody's head. And so then this is Daniel Martin Diaz. I don't know if anybody's familiar with his work, but he had a nice exhibition. I'm like, oh, wow, cool, profiles of nervous systems. All right, that's me. I put myself in the picture. And when I was in Greece, there was a guy, and everybody insisted that he was fake, but I gave him money because it inspired me. It was so cool to be walking down the hill and have this sign, brain tumor! How'd you know? So, and again, like head stuff, right? This is my head superimposed on some MRIs. Then somebody gave me some babies with shit stuck in their brains. Some person's like, I got this weird aunt that like makes these weird doll things. I'm like, yeah, wow, she's cool. Give me one. And they did. And so, the statistics is just shit. If this is real, 50% of people, there was a 50% chance I'd be dead right now. But, there's like a 2% chance you'll be dead right now, So fuck that, Do it, I'm not accepting that. I'll acknowledge it, and that's why I'm retired, and that's why I'm, acting like I have cancer, because I can get more money from the government for now. But 75% chance I'll be dead next year. So that makes it like an 80% chance I won't be talking at the next Occulture. So you better enjoy this. And there's a 95% chance. But this is a thing about like these stupid statistics that people do. They talk about the numerator, like who's like this thing, but they don't tell you what the denominator is. Like what's the population that they're getting that sample out of? And nobody asks that question. Like what's the genotype? How do they eat? Do they go to the doctor? Did they just like drop dead and nobody knew that it was a glio? Like you don't know. And some people, there's 5% of people. And, they gave me that same thing when I had hepatitis C. And I had it for like 27 years. So fuck you. And then Van Halen, there has to be a Van Halen thing because it's not on the bingo. But, so I'm living my life like there's no tomorrow. Like seriously, this is the last day of your life. If you treat every day like that and make it your best day, don't waste your time. Clear your internet cache because you don't want your mom to see it. Gather people around you can trust. And these people, there are people in this room that I trust my life with. And some of them don't know that I trust my life with them, but I do because I love you people. Seriously. And so, I'm going to get to Harry Smith, but I'm going to talk right now one thing that I want to do is I'm trying to make a difference. And I think that the way that you make the most difference is by being supportive of people and making connections for people and helping them. And so many people back in the day when I was a young idiot punk rocker with a green mohawk or whatever. Like so many old people, Allen Ginsberg, Harry Smith, Hymenius Beta, all these people, like Genesis Peerage for that matter, all of these people trusted me and supported me and gave me a hand up for the thing, and hooked me up with people. Harry Smith gave me Bridget Fonda's phone number when I went to visit LA, and he said, you can crash at her house. I didn't dare. I still have her phone number somewhere. I don't know if she still uses it. It was landlines back then. So then mementi mori are crucial, I think, is to remind yourself that you're going to die tomorrow, and you need to act like you're going to die tomorrow. And, make sure you got good insurance if you need that, if you live in a place where that exists. Then Carlos Castaneda, and I won't read that, but fighting every battle as though it were your last is so crucial. And always doing your best. The internal dialogue, I'm going to die, or something, like stopping that and stop talking, stop labeling, stop doing stuff. And I bet I'm way past my 10-minute mark. So the petty tyrant is the one where there's like this bad person that always makes problems for you. So medicine is a petty tyrant for sure, and it's something that as a person of knowledge, you have to overcome the medical establishment to be able to liberate yourself from whatever that thing is that is bothering you. And death is sitting on your left shoulder right now, according to Don Juan, and he knew better than me. And then the whole thing is this part the dream, or is the thing that happens when I think I'm sleeping is the dream? And those things, especially now with VR and AI and all that stuff, like it's really easy to model things into everything being kind of a simulation. And I don't know if that came up during the Devil in My Language model, but there's definitely a thing of, like if you're making your own reality, like metafictions, you're really kind of creating simulations and kind of replicating this universe and maybe splitting it in some like weird quantum fake way. I don't know. But anyway, I always ask myself if this is a dream, and and always talking to the spirits, which is Harry Smith was so supportive and a great guy, and I just went to his interment, and I'm in a book about him right now. I got picked for the Occult Harry Smith anthology, and if you don't know who he was, you should, because he was an incredible man and crazy as hell, high all the time. But he saw the magic in small things, and that's been so huge for me. He's the father of aporrimancy, the mysticism of trash. And of just seeing little things, of looking at the way your cat is laying on the floor, looking at where a leaf is. And you start seeing things in terms of touching. How would they feel? So can I do one last thing? Yes. Okay. I need you to suit up. So I'm going to fight this battle. I have this little mantra thing that I did, and if you want to, you can mantra along with it. It's just a little song. And if you want to touch the person next to you, if they'll let you, and kind of like form a little thing, and this is like an affirmation for you, but all of you doing it for yourselves will amplify it for me.